Hello students, welcome to English class. Today we are going to read 6th chapter of Honeydew, NCERT English book of 8th standard. The chapter is This is Geordie's Phone. It is a very touching story that tells us about a little child, that is Geordie, and his consciousness. It revolves around the emotions of Geordie and his pure heart. When a snake bites Geordie's father, Mr. Baxter, he kills a doe to save him. He uses the heart and liver for drawing out the poison. However, the loss of that doe and thoughts about the phone. A doe means she deer, female deer, and fawn means a young deer in its first year. So, thoughts about the phone do not leave his mind. He thinks about it a lot and feels that abandoning him in the woods was not right. So he convinced his family to let him raise the phone. He even goes to the extent of saying that he will feed him his own share of milk. Everyone finally in his family agrees and he goes to the forest to find the phone. On searching, he finally finds it and brings it home. Now the phone is safe and is being fed by Geordie happily. Students, the lesson takes you through Geordie's journey from finding the phone till taking it home with him. So let's begin the story. Let's start reading. Geordie allowed his thoughts to drift back to the phone. He could not keep it out of his mind. He had held it in his dreams, in his arms. He slipped from the table and went to his father's bedside. Penny lay at rest. His eyes were open and clear, but the pupils were still dark and dilated. Geordie said, "How are you feeling, Pa?" "Just fine, son. Old Death has gone thieving elsewhere." "But wasn't it a close shave?" "I agree." Penny said, "I am proud of you, boy, the way you kept your head and did what was needed." Paragraph starts with Geordie's thinking, and the conversation started between son and father. Geordie could not help but think about the phone again and again, no matter how much he tried not to. He held him in his arms in his dreams. He finally got up from the table to go to his father's bedside, where his father Penny was resting. His eyes were open and seemed clear, but the pupils were still dark and enlarged. Geordie asked his father how he was feeling, and his father replied that he felt just fine. He further added that it was a narrow escape from death, which seems to have gone stealing elsewhere. Geordie agreed. Penny expressed how proud he was of Geordie for how he did not lose his cool and did what was necessary while staying calm. Then conversation is still going on. "Pa, yes, son. Pa, do you recollect the doe and the phone? I can never forget them. The poor doe saved me, that's certain. Pa, the phone may be out there yet. It might be hungry and very scared. I suppose so. Pa, I am a big boy now and don't need to drink milk. Why don't I go and see if I can find the phone and bring it here and raise it?" Penny lay quiet, staring at the ceiling. Boy, you have got me hemmed in. It won't take much to raise it, Pa. It will soon start eating leaves and acorns. You are smarter than boys of your age. We took its mother, and it wasn't to blame. Surely, it seems ungrateful to leave it to starve, son. Son, I can't say no to you. I never thought I would leave. I would live to see another day. So, in this conversation, Jody asked his father if he still remember the dough and the phone. Jody is asking to his father that if he still remembered the dough and the phone, to which Penny replied that he can never forget about the poor dough that saved his life. Jody expressed his concern regarding the phone who might still be out there, hungry and frightened, as he was separated from his mother. His father agreed. Jody further adds that he can take care of him and he does not need to drink milk as he is a grown-up boy now. He asked his father if he could go and look out for the phone. His father asked if Jody wanted to bring the phone at their place, to which Jody agreed, and added that he wanted to raise it too. As his father looked at the ceiling, he expressed how Jody has put him in a situation where he is unable to say no. Jody tried to convince him further by pointing out that it would not require a lot of efforts to raise it, and it will soon grow up to eat leaves and acorns. Penny added how Jody was brighter than the boys of his age. Jody mentioned that it was them who took its mother, and now it will suffer because of them, even though it is not to be blamed. His father expressed how ungrateful it would be to let him starve. Penny could not say no to Jody, as he had lost all hope of living to see another day. Further, Jody said, can I ride back with Millville and see if I can find it? Tell your ma, I said you can go. And this, Jody asked his father if he could ride back with Millville to try and find the phone. His father agreed and told Jody to convey to his mother, that he has given him the required permission. Then he settled back to the table and sat down. His mother was pouring coffee for everyone. He said, Ma, Pa says I can go bring back the phone. She held the coffee pot in mid-air. What phone? The phone belonging to the doe we killed. We used the doe's liver to draw out the poison and save Pa. She gasped. Well, for pity's sake, Pa says it would be ungrateful to leave it to starve. Doc Wilson said, that's right, ma'am. Nothing in the world comes quite free. The boy's right and his daddy's right. Millville said, he can ride back with me. I'll help him find it. She set down the pot helplessly. Well, if you will give it your milk, we have got nothing else to feed it. In this, Jody went back to the table in a manner to avoid getting noticed. He told his mother while she poured coffee for everyone that his father has given him permission to bring the phone. On hearing this, she paused and held the coffee pot in the air and asked, "Which phone is he talking about?" Jody informs her that he intends on bringing the phone that belonged to the doe they killed to save his father's life. He further explained that they used doe's liver to extract poison to save his father. She heaved a sigh as she said that he can bring him home out of pure compassion. Jody told her that his father thinks it would be ungrateful and unappreciative of them to let the fawn starve in the wood. Dr. Wilson kept his view forward by agreeing with what Jody and his father said. He thought both of them were right. He further added that there is nothing you can get from the world for free. Melville volunteered to give Jody a ride and help him find the phone. On hearing all this, Jody's mother felt helpless as she sat down. Even though she was not in favor of it, she knew they were right and thus agreed if Jody would give the fawn his share of milk, as they had nothing else to feed it. Then Melville said, "Come on, boy, we have got to get riding." Ma Baxter asked anxiously, "We will not be going long." Ma Baxter means his mother. Jody said, I'll be back before dinner for sure." Melville mounted his horse and pulled Jody up behind him. He said to Melville, "Do you think the phone is still there? Will you help me find him?" "We will find him if he is alive." "How you know it's a he?" The spots were all in a line. On a doe fawn, Pa says, the spots are every which way. So, the conversation was going on between Melville and Jody. Here, when as soon as his mother agreed, Melville asked Jody to come along and said that they needed to go. Jody's mother Baxter quite uneasily asked for reassurance that he will not be gone for long. Jody replied that he would be back before dinner. Melville climbed his horse and helped Jody sit behind him. You can see in the picture Jody and Melville. Jody asked Melville if he thinks the phone would still be there and if he will help Jody in finding him. Melville assured him that they would find the phone if it was alive. However, he asked Jody how he knew it was a male. Jody told Melville that he is sure because his spots were all in a line. His father had told him that a doe fawn or a female deer has spots in different directions. So we finished the first part here, and the second and third part we will take in next class. Till then, thank you. Have a nice time.